It's time to sit back, relax, get your mind on track. You are now listening to Palmer's podcast. We can talk about it, it don't matter what it is. Any topic when we talk about it, everybody wins. If we all work together, we'll figure out a plan. Be the helping hand, always do everything that we can. In the end, everything will turn out right. Let's get the podcast started with Palmer up on the mic.
Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Nick Palmer. Welcome to another edition of Palmer's podcast. As always, live in the UB studios, my co-host Wade Shemwell. Help you sleep well down at Box Drop.
That's right.
And also, man, real excited. Got a childhood friend here with me, a fellow entrepreneur, Jimmy Cornett from Jimmy's Barbershop and Shave Parlor, a.k.a. Jimmy Cuts, a.k.a. Jimmy the Barber, and a.k.a. Absolute entrepreneurial badass. So, what's up, man? I appreciate you coming in town.
Appreciate you. Appreciate you having me.
Yeah, long time no see. I don't know, Jimmy, man, I just really respect your journey. I can relate a lot to you when it comes to overcoming and trying to overcome and perseverance. And you just give me a lot of hope, man, honestly, knowing you from basically our whole life and kind of what you have created over there in Huntington. And, you help out a lot of people who even live in Wabash and, I consider this my community, and I just appreciate that, man. So, I guess why I wanted to have you on, man, is just so you can we can kick back and forth some ideas and some stories and just kind of about your journey, man. So I just want my listeners to kind of learn about you a little bit and kind of how you came up. So, floor is yours, brother.
Well, I mean, shoot, where do you start? I mean, gosh. Growing up south end of Wabash County, just trailer kid, trucking, to Southwood. I spent the first probably K through 6 just wilding out, getting in trouble, figuring out, who I was.
Yeah.
Moving from Southwood to another school, White's for a couple years, that kind of grounded me a little bit, kind of taught me my dysfunction, taught me where I was going wrong.
Yeah.
Kind of opened my eyes to reality, which I look at that experience as a blessing, truthfully. Some people might think of it as something that, is a failure, but for me,
what part of it sticks out? I mean, what is it that you think back now and remember that was one of the things that changed or that opened your eyes or the blessing that you talk about?
I think for me, the complex that I had for myself. Growing up, I had a loving mother, loving father, but I grew up, I would consider myself having been poor. Yeah. We lived in a trailer. That's not the best feeling in the world.
Right.
When you get on the bus and you got kids and you stop at their houses and they got big houses. Their dad's a doctor or their dad owns a farm or they got stuff. They get on the bus, they got nice new shoes, new clothes, all that stuff. You start to feel away. So for me, I kind of felt like just a scrappy little kid that just didn't really measure up. And so, I walked around with the complex. And for me, that was something that when I left my situation at Southwood and I was able to go to White's and kind of see other people and their struggles, it made me think like how fortunate I actually was.
Like you're not really alone in that situation.
Yeah, no. Yeah. Having a complex was something that every single person that I was in there with had also.
We used to go out there and ball a lot. Like great dudes went to school out there, man. Like some of our really good friends, went to school out there.
And some of the people that I kind of grew up with in the community, like Somerset, Dave Spencer, he was the director of the foster care program at White's. And he and I had a relationship prior to going there. And, he believed in me. Yeah. Coach Hogan, he believed in me. It was one of the inspirations for me, like, just through sports and things like that. Like, I connected with a few people that inspired me and gave me some confidence. And that told me, hey, you're a good kid. You're going to make good things happen. You just got to focus. Mm-hmm. And so leaving Southwood, it kind of it was life changing, but I think now it was more of a blessing than anything, and I'm grateful for it. Yeah. So, that journey I think taught me quite a bit, and moving from school to school and having to readapt and kind of recreate what I felt like was the complex that I had. And this will all tie into the barber thing for me.
Absolutely.
But going from Southwood to Whites, going to school there on campus, and then transitioning into foster care with Dale Barlow, who was great. I mean, he was an amazing person. But going from that situation to Northfield, now I lived in Dale was I want to call him wealthy, but Dale had his stuff together. Yeah. He lived in a really nice house, and things that I never had seen before, I actually had. So now here I go to this new school, and I've got this new identity.
Yeah.
I live in a nice place.
Yeah.
I've got nice clothes. Now I'm looking at...
And all the same time, these dudes at Northfield had probably no idea where you came from, thinking that you were just spoiled at this point, right? You know what I mean?
I don't know. I would be speculating if I said, but in the, when I went there, I felt like
you could almost be who you wanted to be.
I could recreate this
freedom, man.
This complex kind of was just get rid of that. Right. Learn what you learn. Now go into the situation knowing what you know from what you messed up before. At 14, I remember I got a haircut. I went from the grungy 90s undercut,
Nirvana
hair,
look,
skater
dude.
look.
Yeah, for sure.
I got a clean cut, and my my best friend David, he used to make fun of my haircut all the time. He's like, dude, you're gonna have to get a fade if you want to look cool.
Yeah.
So I'm like, all right, whatever. Yeah.
That's
so
awesome.
I got a haircut, and I mean, it changed me. I swear it changed me. I felt a new confidence. I went into that situation, I played ball. I always felt like I was good at sports, but trouble got in the way. So I was, clean cut, didn't have the complex of living in a trailer. Nice, nice clothes, haircut. My friends, I kind of established, close friends. And I went into my freshman year at Northfield feeling pretty confident, playing good ball. It really just was something that it re-energized me. It gave me new life. Yeah. And
which all stemmed from somebody taking the time to care about you and mentoring you and things like that. We just had Jake O'Neill on here last week, and that's what he was talking about. He's a wrestling coach at Wabash, and he focuses a lot more on out off the mat, seeing what's going on with the kids. And I think that if no one else would know that, you're a product, and your success is probably stems from, I'm not trying to talk for you, but probably stems from someone taking an interest and being like, hey, man, it's okay that you've made mistakes. It's okay that wherever you come from, developing that mindset for you in later years helped you in business. That it doesn't matter how many mistakes you make as long as you get back up and keep it pushing.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely. I think someone seeing in me what I didn't see was key. And going through that experience, I think kind of better equipped me for being a parent and being older, kind of having perspective, early. I'm not saying that I would want all my kids to go through what I went through, but it honestly taught me so much early that I didn't realize I learned until more recently, and especially opening, a business with my name and really trying to recreate an image that I felt like I had kind of spent a lot of time kind of tarnishing, making bad decisions, early and all that. But it definitely proved to me that you can turn it around. No matter what. You're going to mess up, but as long as you learn from that and accept it and realize you did what you did and you got yourself in that situation and nobody else did.
Extreme ownership, man.
My whole life I blamed other circumstances.
Yeah, man.
100% own it and move forward. Be grateful that, you have, 2 arms, 2 legs, the ability to go out and work.
The basic blessings that God gives you every day. Yeah.
I mean, there's just so much to be grateful for, that I don't know. I think complexing about myself was one thing, but another was, blaming other people. Yeah. I had no ability to change what was going on because I wasn't accepting that it was my fault.
Yeah. And I find myself still doing that today, bro. I'm struggling with some stuff like this week, like of my choices, and it isn't necessarily in business. Some of it is, but some of it's just in my personal life, and so I have to get back to that extreme ownership thing, and I try to surround myself with people who are about that. Like they're about like, hey, dude, what did you do in this situation, or what can you change to not let this happen again, or get your priorities straight and not be shitting all over people, you know? And so, if I'm being real honest about it, that's like a never-ending thing for me, is that extreme ownership thing. But I learned at a young age, man, like to do that to like a defense mechanism. Like, well, if they wouldn't have done this, then I wouldn't have done this, you know? Even like going up, like fighting, like I wouldn't have gotten that fight if this, you know, well, no, dude, you did, you're part of it. You know what I'm saying? So, but yeah, I relate so much to that, man. Just that part about blaming others.
A lot of those lessons they're learned the hard way, but those are the best lessons we learn, the ones we learn the hard way.
Shit, is there a lesson to learn the easy way? Somebody, because I feel like I've been learning that shit the hard way my whole life.
But being able to step back and take a look at yourself and examine yourself, man, that's such a blessing to be able to do. It's such a gift to be able to do that, because a lot of people can't. Yeah. I mean, I learned it the hard way too. My parents are two of my best friends. I mean, and they'll tell me real quick. They'll tell me when I'm doing good and pat me on the back, but
yeah, my mom's not shy about hurting my feelings.
Get your head out of your ass and take a look at what you're doing.
Yeah,
and being able to do that as an adult now, man, it's a blessing to be able to do it, because there's a lot of people that can't, and it's helped you, and it's helped me and Palmer, and
I'm hard on myself though.
Yeah,
anymore.
Same.
I'm so hard on myself because I expect so much now. Because I've proven to myself that, hey, you know, the doubt and all the stuff that you had in your mind, like,
you're always trying to level up.
That doesn't apply. You know, every day you got an opportunity to go out and, you know, prove to the world that you belong. Yeah. And that's, for the longest time, I didn't have that. I didn't have the confidence. Yeah. And just through, you know, perseverance and each time, I mean, you know, you don't ever want to go through, like you said, the hard lesson. But, I mean, once you've gone through it, you learn that. I mean, there's no better feeling than knowing you've made it through something like that, and that you can, you know.
And honestly, I think for me, like I was living in halfway houses like 10, 11 years ago for reasons. You know what I'm saying? And so I think back, like in business, I think I could take calculated risks now because I've been broke. You know, like... But the payoff, you know, if you've been broke, it's not, I mean, it sucks. You don't ever want to be broke again. There's like that fine line, but then again, you survived it, like you're saying. So, right. I mean, I can get through that. I can get through anything, you know. Let me go ahead and upscale this a little bit, or buy another barber shop, or hire some more people, or whatever, you know, on your situation. But what I really, like, I know there's probably some younger folks listening to this, maybe not, like, probably teenagers or whatever. And that stuff hasn't really stopped, you know. Like, there's some kid out there maybe listening to this that just got thrown out of school, or is smoking dope, or in some different stuff, drinking, depressed or whatever over whatever reasons, dealing with like mental health issues or complexes with themselves, like, or just got sent to whites or whatever, or getting ready to go into foster care. Like, if you could say anything to someone in that situation, man, what would you tell them from your experience?
Like, you think high school and junior high and all that stuff is such a huge, long part of your life, but it's that. It's a second. It doesn't, this stuff you're going through doesn't define you at all. It is like, and especially kids that are, you know, kids under the age of 18. These aren't real things. I mean, they're real, but like, take it seriously. Yeah. But this doesn't define you forever. You can change. You can make good of any situation that you're going through. And honestly, like, I mean, I don't know. I have 4 daughters and I have 1 son. And for me, I feel like for my daughters, I want to protect them from anything. I don't want them to go through anything. I want them to just never hurt, you know.
Yeah, that's a daddy in you, man. Yeah,
but for my son, you know, every now and then you think about it, like, all right, you get into that fight. Yeah. You get lumped up, you know, but you get up and you're like, you know what?
Because life ain't going to baby.
I got lumped up.
Yeah.
I'm cool. I can handle that. So the next step you get into, you're like, all right, you know, you almost, I don't know.
It's different raising boys.
Your daughters are, you know, you want to shell them, protect them. You want to, you know, never see them hurt. But your boys, you kind of want to, as a man, go through a little bit of stuff because it's a barometer of, you know, what you can accept or what, you know, what makes you tough.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I've got 3 boys, and I got 3 sons and a daughter, and you want to teach your boys how to be men, and you want to protect your daughter like the man in her lap should someday. You know, you've got to teach them completely different life experiences. I mean, so I know exactly where you're coming from. You gotta be fair to your kids, but being fair is not always doing the same
it's
thing.
It's hard to let the girls get hurt. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Because, you know, I think that's just the man in you. But like the boys, it's like you need to toughen up a little bit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think that's just from our personal experience, knowing how, like I said last week, life hit you in the mouth for you don't even ask for it.
Right.
Life's coming at you, and nobody's coming here to save you. And I think like the men, like you're going to eventually have to protect your family.
Right.
So, you know, and maybe that's the wrong way to look at it, but I think the only way we can really do that is from our experience and how the stuff we went through. I'm not saying go out here and get in fist fights. I'm just saying be able to stand up for yourself, you know, because this world is teaching people how to be cowards now. I mean, I'm going to say it, you know, you see it all the time. And I don't know if that's good or bad. I think it's pretty bad, though, from stuff I've seen.
I mean, you take a level of confidence from knowing, like, hey, I remember the first time I got punched. I was heartbroken, man. I walked home crying. I did something I should have done. Buddy punched me right in my mouth.
Yeah.
And I walked home, like, sad.
Yeah.
I was upset. I'm like, man, I thought this guy was my buddy. Man, you know. But I thought about it. I was like, man, this guy's like 3-4 years older than me, man. He punched me right in my mouth. I walked home. I survived it. It's like, okay.
Some of my best friends,
next
man.
Next time I'm like, you know what? I got a little bit more confidence than I had.
That's right. Yeah.
You know?
It hurt that bad.
Yeah, I'm like, you know what? It did hurt.
Yeah.
And really, I was more heartbroken and hurt than I was physically.
Because it was your friend, yeah.
I was like, I thought, I don't know. It made me realize, like, that was the first time I can think to myself, I probably shouldn't have done that.
Yeah.
I probably deserved to get punched in my mouth.
Yeah. And honestly, I learned a lot of things from that. I mean, I've learned how to get along with people.
Yeah.
Dude, I did.
Well, you learned
Not
what
up to not
say
too long
or
ago.
not to say,
Yeah, I mean, and I
I
learned how to respect another man or another human being that way. And I'm not saying that all kids should learn that way. I'm just saying that's how I learned. And the other part of it is growing up. And I'm talking like we were kids, you know. So I'm saying every one of my really good friends that I grew up with, every single one of them, man, we either met or got to know each other through a fight. Yeah. And then we ended up being like best friends. Mm-hmm. And I mean, that's just how it was back then.
That's probably every journey that I've had. I've met somebody that's become one of my best friends through some level of confrontation.
Yeah, something. So, but yeah, man. So, tell us about the barbershop. What do you got going on over there, man? Tell the folks about that.
Well, I've got 2 barbershops in Huntington right now. The first barbershop I started 7 years ago. That's on Bryant Street, next to the B&K hot dog stand. I'd honestly...
Can we edit that out?
Sorry.
I'm just teasing, man. Nothing but love for B&K. I still go there.
We talked about earlier about the haircut before you went to Northfield. Mm-hmm. So did that have to do with...
This dude's cut hair since he could walk.
Back up to, and we're gonna have to. I'm telling a secret now, but when I was at Northfield, there was a few of us, Sherman, David, both of those guys. They'd get money from their parents for haircuts, right? Well, they would have to produce something, right? I would cut their hair.
Right, and then go buy the cigarettes and
whatever, right? Gas money, Greg Welch, he had a car before anyone else.
Greg Welch,
he was a little bit older.
We're gonna call it gas money.
Right. So exactly. So here I am.
That's bullshit.
We're not incriminating ourselves on this podcast.
Not at all. So $40 every other week or so, right?
Yeah.
That's my part. I'm like, you know what? I'll cut the. Honestly, a couple times you get her hair cut and be messed up and be like, hey, can you try to help me fix this? I'd fix it and be like, well, why don't you do it the whole thing next time? I'm like, we'll just keep all the money.
Yeah.
So getting haircut money from parents. I'm cutting the haircuts. Boom, we got a little something going on. And so fast forward 25, 26, I'm like, man, I was fooling my friends' parents when I was like 15.
Yeah,
With a little training, and honestly, shout out Andy Culver. He blessed me. He told me, you know what, go to Ravenscroft, pay attention to your financial aid and all your stuff, but go to Ravenscroft. You'll turn into a barber. They'll teach you.
Good for him, man.
Yeah, and so I thought to myself, you know what, with a little training and a little, little drive, I can make this happen. If I'm doing it off just some clippers in the kitchen,
Yeah. Dude, I remember you were
16.
cutting tons of people's hair like back in the day.
I would cut.
Everybody's like, go see Jimmy, man. He'll cut your hair up.
Well,
And
I
was
didn't
like,
care about messing other people's hair up.
Right,
And
right, yeah.
I didn't have to walk around with
Yeah.
a cut.
Whatever,
Worst
man.
case scenario, you buzz it down to 2, and you're just like, a couple weeks
Then
later,
go
you
back.
try it again.
Yeah, you ain't getting a girlfriend anyway, dude. Get out of my
right?
kitchen.
You ain't doing nothing. So, I thought to myself, you know what? And I was in college for business administration, whatever. And I'm like, this just what business am I gonna, what business am I gonna get into? I'm like, I'd already gotten myself in a little bit of trouble, a little bit of things that was gonna kind of help or not help me, in my career. So I'm like, a barbershop sounds like a business, right?
Yeah.
I already know, like, I can do, decent haircuts and get money out of my friends' parents, and they don't know any better.
Yeah.
Like, shoot. So I thought about it, and I was like, screw it. I went to barber school. Year and a half, 17 months to be exact later, I had my barber license, and I was ready to go. So I moved. I'd been living in Fort Wayne. I went to Kendallville. There was an old man who called the barber school and was asking, who was about to graduate. Is there any barbers, coming out? Because I'm retiring. I'm 70, and I'm from Kendallville, and we don't have another barber. So
Sweet.
I kind of was like, perfect. Yeah, I'll jump on that.
That's a God thing right there, man,
Right.
for sure.
So I jump into that situation, but I soon realized I'm only 30 minutes away from my house on DuPont, but I'm almost an hour away from Huntington, which most of my friends and family are from Huntington, Wabash area. And I just started noticing, like, 4 or 5 months into it, I was like, I probably should move closer to home. I should probably get my business started closer to home. Yeah. And so I transitioned from there to Huntington. That's where I ended up moving to Huntington. I met my son's mom, Leo's mom, and I made the choice to, open a shop in Huntington. And I started working with the old man RC downtown. Worked there for a few months, and he let me go. It was a Thursday, I remember it. I was upset, but I left gracefully. No bad, nothing. I just said okay, and I started cutting hair in my garage and serving tables at Wings.
Right.
And I started telling people, hey, I'm opening a shop.
Man, we seen you up there. I forget who I was with at Wings at one time. Who was I with? Rhett, and a couple other people.
Well, Nickum. I remember
Nickum. Yeah, me and Nickum came in there. Yeah.
His wife.
Yeah.
But I told people, I was like,
because I hadn't seen you in since probably 5, 6, 7 years or something. I was like, Jimmy, and you're like, what the hell?
Yeah, I didn't want to be there, but like ultimately I knew, hey, I'm a grinder. I got to work.
Yeah.
So, my best friend's sister managed the joint.
Yep.
And I was like, hey, Nikki.
Yeah, Nikki did work there.
By the way, I need
all this
a job.
stuff's coming back to me now, man.
I need a job, and I'm going to start working here. We'd served together before at other places, and so she knew I could do it.
Yeah.
So I started serving tables. I started telling people, hey, I'm opening a shop. Come see me in my garage.
Hell yeah, man. Made it work for you.
I built up to 55 people. I remember 55 people. And every 2 weeks, 27, 28 of them came every 2 weeks. Yeah. So I do 3-4 haircuts. I go to work, serve tables, $100, $150 a day, enough to pay child support and car payment, a little bit of, stuff here and there. Mm-hmm. And finally one day I remember going to get some Mexican food, and the place I'd been eyeing for a long time, all of a sudden the sign was off the door. I'm like, whoa. So I stop, check it out, I look in, it's empty. I'm like, holy cow. So I asked the people at the hot dog stand if they knew who owned it.
Yeah.
The owner happened to be working. So he showed me the building. I shook his hand. 2-3 days later, paid him a deposit. Yeah. And that was the start of Jimmy's Barbershop.
Sweet.
So yeah, I guess for me there, it was just like, find an affordable building. And you already got 50 some people.
Yeah.
You can cover the bills.
You had a following, and then you pulled the trigger.
Yeah,
That's the main thing, man.
And I decided, you know what, I'll go there. I'm going to stay working at Wings until I get busy enough to transition into just cutting.
Yeah.
So I did that. Now, we talk about getting knocked down, getting back up.
Mm-hmm.
During that time, I had actually gotten arrested for DUI.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know all about that.
Well, that was 9 days before Christmas.
That sucks.
And it was a situation that I was ashamed of.
Yeah. It's embarrassing, bro. I've been there.
During that time, I was very ashamed, but I knew I was already on the right path. That little stumble was something that it checked me a little bit, and it made me do things the right way.
Start looking at yourself a lot differently, starting to be more intentional with. For me, I can't speak for you, but for me, with that same exact situation, it made me start to be more intentional with how am I even living my life right now? I don't need to be out here doing this. I don't need to be over here doing that. At least I try not to.
Right.
But yeah, I think that I had to make it a positive, because I was in business. I had cart sponsors that I literally had to go to and say, hey, this happened. I just want to be up front. If you want your money back, 100%, I get it. And, every single one of them people, man, I almost get choked up because every single one of them people, business owners who have a reputation on the line, who stuck their neck out for me, every single one of them said, man, everybody makes mistakes, Nick. Just learn from it. Just do us a favor and learn from it. And I feel like, that was my responsibility from then on. And they said, keep giving back. So I have two goals. And that's to learn from my mistakes and to keep giving back to people who need it, And so, yeah, man, I'm right there with you. And it sucks, to bounce back from that in a small town, too. If it would have been in Indianapolis, man, nobody, no. But, here, it's but I think it needed to happen to me here. Mm-hmm. I don't know the plan. I feel like that's what I say about God. He knows the plan, and everything happens for a reason. And you can either lay down like a sheep, or you can be a wolf and get back up and move straight forward. And, it sounds like that's what you did.
Well, it humbled me. It definitely humbled me. And it made me, even more critical about my actions because I was embarrassed, Yeah. I was embarrassed because I had a professional relationship with people. Mm-hmm. I had, the woman I was with was pregnant with my son. Mm-hmm. And here I am feeling like I'm doing the right thing, mm-hmm. moving in the right direction, opening a business, trying mm-hmm. to be, gainfully employed and having, success. But, I screwed up. Yeah. And so I owned it. And, I went through the program and everything mm-hmm. and did everything the right way. And I told myself I'm going to spend the next year focusing on doing everything the right way. Yeah. And, I opened the barbershop on house arrest. Yeah. I had my ribbon cutting ceremony with the senator, with the mayor, with, a lot of business folk in that area. And I had my pants on covering my little bracelet. Yeah. It was embarrassing.
Yeah. I was running events with a dog cart with mine on. It was like 95 degrees out, dude.
Yeah.
And
you gotta wear pants.
And I got my jeans on. Everybody's like, "Bro, you're stupid right now." I was like, "No, you don't even know the half how stupid I am right now."
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, you don't even have time, man, for me to tell you that.
So it's something that I definitely don't want kids or people to be like, "Oh, I can screw up a bunch because look, Jimmy did it. He's fine." Yeah. But it humbled me in a way that I think it pushed me into having to make choices for the better, making the right choices, mm-hmm. and doing things right. So opening the shop was just an opportunity for me, to earn money to provide for my family and do all that. But I didn't realize what I was really getting into, the impact that I was about to make on people mm-hmm. In the area. And opening that shop, I spent the first 2 years by myself in there cutting, transitioned from all walk-ins to walk-in and appointments, mm-hmm. writing it in the book. Then I'm like, I'm too busy. So then I had to go to online scheduling and try to, transition into that. And then I realized, I can't do this by myself. I need someone.
Yeah.
And I remember, going to school with my guy Amir, and I'm like, he was very professional. He'd already graduated from cosmetology school and was going through the barbering program with me. And I'm like, I can't think of anybody else that I'd want to work beside.
Yeah.
And so I told him, he had another job going, but I told him, I said, man, there's a lot of people down here. I'm telling you, like, I won't even like gas it up. Like, just come down on a Saturday and just
check it out
with me. Check it out. Work just a Saturday. Probably 3 or 4 Saturdays in, he's like, yeah, I'm in.
I'm game, yeah.
I'm game, because he was cutting nonstop.
This must have been a time, because I was down, I think Andy was still cutting at Jeff's. And he was like, I was like, I'm going to go over and let Jimmy hook me up one time. He's like, dude, you better call like a month ahead of time. This must have been when you were still cutting by yourself. I said, are you serious? He's like, yeah, man. You're not gonna get in for like a month.
Yeah, I mean, and that's a good thing.
Yeah, it's good. That's what I'm saying. I was like, damn, he's killing it over there.
Well, I was sending people other places. Yeah. I was like, I know. And I'd actually sent people to Amir in Fort Wayne where he was cutting. I'm like, in my head, I'm like, this is kind of silly. Why am I sending people to other places? Like, I should send them to people right next.
Well, it's like you're just learning though. Like that's how it was with the cart, man. I was like, I remember I started that thing. I was like, there ain't nobody gonna come out here and take me serious. Like, it was probably because I remember when I first heard that you were in business, man. I was like, really? I was like, well, that's cool. That sort of thing. I was like, man, I hope he nails it. You know what I mean? Just from knowing you, and like knowing me, it's probably the same thing people thought when they heard Homer's going to be selling hot dogs. Like, what the?
Well, dude, that was the same thing I thought about.
Yeah, like he's going to be cool for like a couple months, and he's going to scrap it, and he'll be back down doing whatever. And so when I went to that first Friday, and I'm looking around, I'm thinking, maybe we'll get some people in here. Dude, 3 people came up. I was like, yeah. I told my buddy Rodney, I was like, yeah, man, 3 people. He's like, wait for it. And I turned around, and the whole parking lot was full.
I waited for over an hour.
I'm thinking, what the heck, man? Like, so like what you're saying is you're really like humbled, because I've never been humbled like that. And to this day, that I can still do what I love to do on the side, and like people still enjoy it and support me. It's the most humbling feeling you can ever have, especially coming from where I was at to where I can try to get now. It's like I can't even fathom it, really. It's such a blessing to me.
The support from the community is something that brings a feeling to you that it's hard to describe it. It's an inspiration, but you want to. It almost. I think back to being, kind of a troubled little kid, where if I had a person, coach, teacher, staff, whatever, come to me and be like, hey, Jimmy, we believe in you. You're going to do good. You're going to be just fine, whatever it was.
Yeah.
I would be like, you know what? I believe in myself.
Fire in you, yeah.
And it would make me want to perform well.
Yep.
But you have someone that's like, don't screw this up, knucklehead or whatever. And you like damn near want to give them what they...
Yeah, and I had that.
Self-sabotage so you can give them the disappointment.
Yep.
But like, when people support you in business, it's great because, you offer something that you feel is of value.
Yeah.
And they accept it for the same and show gratitude and appreciate you. It makes you want to just do the best job you can do for everybody else.
Serve you of the best product you can, and have a best conversation you can with those people, because like we know what it's like to grind. We know what it's like to work in a job that I work my ass off and come spend that money on my product or your services. It's like, man, there really isn't any better compliment than that. And so I fully understand that. And I think another part of it is like that I really relate to you, and I think that people relate to our business, is that we're authentic. I feel like I'm not trying to be someone I'm not, and like you're not trying to be someone you're not, and like Wade's not trying to be somebody he isn't. So people feel that, because there's a lot of people out here in business that you can tell right when you go to their business that they're just up here trying to front and get your money.
Well, they're finessing you out of dollars.
And don't get me wrong, that's fine too. It's whatever. I respect their hustle, but I feel like I can't look myself in the mirror in the morning and be like, dude, you screwed those people over. No. And I think that comes from just like the street kind of. Like, I can't do that. Like, I can't look myself in the mirror and know that I wasn't honest or wasn't authentic with my customers.
If you can't be legit and come up with a solution to making money or doing whatever without being a fraud, like then you just kind of what are you doing?
Yeah, what are you doing, man? Just
stealing from people
I could go.
or fraud. Be like, that's just.
I tell people that all the time. They walk into the store. I'm like, I'm not a salesman. I worked for the railroad for 15 years building railroad tracks.
Right.
I've just got, I'm honest with them and bullshit with them.
But your work ethic, though, bro, that's where you.
I mean,
you got your work ethic from when you were working for your parents, and then when you worked at the railroad. I mean, you got a hell of a work ethic, just like Jimmy. Like, he's worked and grinded, and I think that work ethic, like, this is what I told people when I started my business. I said, look, I don't know anything about books. I don't know anything about products. I don't know anything about purchasing, marketing, none of that. You know what I do know how to do is outwork every person in a room or die trying. And so I had to surround myself with a team of people who knew how to do that. And then hopefully they didn't charge me for it right off the bat. But I was blessed, though, because there was those people who came to me and was like, hey, man, if you need any help with this, let me know. I know how to do it. And I'd be like, man, that's cool. I just don't have a lot of money to pay you right now. And they're like, don't worry about it, man. Just pay it forward. Mm-hmm. So in turn, that's what I try to do. And I think that's the best way to do business, man, is to just have your hand out for people who are trying to come up, reach down, help them up. And if they screw you, man, that's they have to deal with that.
Yeah,
you can't help someone.
I've been screwed over a lot by people, and you just you try not to let it happen
twice.
To
do with you, it's them.
But that's not on you.
Yeah. No.
And I just, it fills my heart to have people come into the shop over and over and over with their kids, or they, suggest, hey, my dad needs a new place, or whatever. And it's like, it fills my heart with joy to take care of people and make them feel better about themselves. Because I remember having a complex about myself and remembering the little thing, the haircut that changed for me. There was a lot of things that changed for me, but in my mind, I'm like, I saw myself in the mirror and I was like, wow, man, I'm looking kind of good, man, I'm walking into this new place with this newfound confidence. I got all this, this stuff that really doesn't matter, but in my mind, it changed the perception of myself. And, it goes back to that haircut and that little shred of, confidence.
A little uplift, man.
Yeah, it made me feel better. And I know how that feeling is. And so when I see a kid, I'm cutting his hair or whatever, and I spin him around and I show him, his eyes light up and he smiles real big. That's everything to me. That it ain't even about the money. I get paid good, but the money, I could do without. It's that feeling. And I have, I've been lucky to be at the shop, in Huntington, for 7 years almost. And I've even had kids that were 7th, 8th graders. One in particular, he's in the Navy now, but he came to me, cut him up. A couple years into it, he was like, I feel like I'm going to be a barber. So he started going to barber school in high school, a little co-op program. He graduated high school with the cosmetology license and was like, hey, what do you think? I'm like, come on in. I'm opening up another shop, whatever.
Awesome.
He ends up working for me. And I'm like, a kid that went from 8th grade and just loved coming to the shop and felt good about it. He ended up seeing what was going on and wanted to do it himself.
It's freaking beautiful, man.
That's awesome.
Ends up working for me. Now he joined the Navy. Yeah. He's off doing his own thing.
And that's full circle shit, man. That's full circle, man. Yeah. That's the goal.
I mean, that's skipping a lot of steps, but ultimately, that was one impact that I think about. I'm like, you know what? That's beautiful to me. Yeah. That guy, he's a good guy. Shout out Connor. He's down in, he's probably in Florida right now. I don't know. He's either in Florida or he's in California, but
there's not a bad base in the Navy, man. Them boys are always on the coast somewhere getting
he's
sun.
doing his thing, man. He's really doing his thing. He's in the Navy, and he's I'm proud of him. I wish he would have stayed because he'd been making some money living in his parents' house.
Right. So Jimmy's sitting here now. I don't ever like to ask, what would you do different? Because everything you've done and went through has made you who you are and made us who we are. Mm-hmm. But if the man that you turned into could go back and talk to that little kid that lives in a trailer park with a chip on his shoulder, what is one thing you would tell him? Not to change his life, not to change anything, but what is just one thing that you would tell that little kid?
Man, that's so tough. Depression and sadness and stuff like that, there's a lot of nights you spend by yourself thinking less of yourself. I'm like, the confidence that you're going to have later. You can't know what's coming, but just like I said earlier, don't let what's going on now define you.
Right.
And circumstance, I mean, you know, my mother was a great mother, hardworking. I had a stepfather who was a hard worker. I mean, loved him to death. My dad, businessman, hard worker. I had no like dysfunction or abuse or anything in my home. Now, you know, my mom was she liked her horses and their country living and stuff like that. I was more into, you know, hip hop and sports and all that. I kind of found myself not really embodying that lifestyle, you know. My dad, hard worker, always looked up to him, retired from the service, 22 years. Just an amazing guy and successful in everything he did. And, you know, I guess I didn't realize, like, I came from a pretty good family. You know, I looked at myself and was like, you know, I don't have a big house. I don't have nice shoes. I don't have nice clothes. I feel like lesser than.
Sounds like you got that work ethic honest then. I mean,
it made me appreciate everything now. Right. I mean, I overspend on a lot of things. Clothes, shoes, all that stuff. I probably spend more than I should. But I take care of all of it. Right. Everything that I have, I take care of. It's clean. Yeah. You know, I'm like, you know, I know what it's like to not have stuff. So when I do have it, I take good care of it. Yep. And I provide all that stuff. You know, my kids want stuff, they can have it. I try to teach them lessons and stuff. It's hard to teach kids perspective on, you know, just, Dad, I want V-Bucks for my Switch. I want to play Fortnite. And I'm like, that's $60.
Yeah.
Well, can I have it? Like,
and see, that's one of them lessons. When
all right, I guess.
But
are you
gonna cry? Okay, well, if you do, like, you know, please don't. But yeah. So I mean, looking back, if I had to say something to that kid, just believe in yourself. Just believe.
Hell yeah.
Just believe in yourself and just keep pushing, keep trying, keep fighting. Stand up to the bully. You know, do whatever you got to do. Like, you're not lesser than these people. Because fast forward down the road, some of them people aren't even alive anymore. Some people aren't living too good, you know. And I'm not living the best, but I mean, I have purpose, and I feel it, and I feel like, you know, I've made a difference. So,
yeah, I man, I don't know, man. I'm proud of you, bro. Just being real. Your story inspires me to this day, not as anything other than just me being man to man with you. Like, I've known you for a long time, man. I just really, I can't say it enough. I just respect your outlook. I know where you came from. I know the things you've been through. I've been through a lot of the same things. And, you know, sometimes in this journey, it's lonely. You know what I'm saying? Like, sometimes in this journey in life is, it'll test you. And sometimes you don't make the best decisions even after, like, I'm trying to put my best foot forward and the best mindset. I still mess up because I'm human. And but to see people like Jimmy and Wade and hang out with you guys and listen to your guys' story, it gives me hope that I'm part of. You know, I'm not alone in this journey. Like, entrepreneurship, like we were talking before the podcast, like, there's a lot of people out here that want to be in business and talk about being in business, and a lot of them are. But I think that for me, I didn't really realize how bad it can suck sometimes, because you have to sacrifice things. Yeah. Like I'm not talking like quit drinking pop. I'm talking like sacrificing things that almost break you emotionally. You know what I'm saying? So I think until someone is in that position where they're willing to do that, to chase their dream and succeed in business, I feel like that's the difference. And I feel like that is the over the hump thing. I don't know how to explain it. You guys know what I'm saying, but I'm trying to say it so people listen.
There's a difference between like an idea. Yeah. Ideas are easy. Right. Executing that idea is really the hard part. And there's a lot of naysayers. A lot of people, if you share your idea with them, like, they're going to point out all the things that are. Why don't you just get
a real job? Just stay at your factory.
Yeah,
just
right.
Do your job.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people that you and I have talked about. There's a lot of people that see you slinging hot dogs, and there's a lot of people that probably just see you cutting hair and thinking, you know, Jimmy got it easy. He just cuts hair.
Yeah,
Nick's just slinging hot dogs.
Yeah.
Right.
But a lot of people think that, and they don't see what it took to make the man sitting there today. What it takes to make all that and to do all that. And, you know, I watched it growing up. My parents were always entrepreneurs, and I watched them work and sacrifice and cry and you know, bleed and everything else. And it's a lot of things that people you don't understand unless you've seen it or went through it. And
yes, like I told my dad today, man. I was talking to my dad, and I was just he was like, "What's up with you?" Because I was kind of just, I don't know, in one of them funks, you know what I'm saying? And he was like, "What's going on with you?" And I was, only thing I could say is like, "Man, I'm just tired." Like, and it's a different kind of tired. It's like, no, I'm tired. You know, it's like Wade said, "What's that? Your 15th cup of coffee?" I was like, "Probably," but you know, I overload my plate sometimes. And I feel like finding that balance, man, is something I still really struggle with, is finding the balance in all of it. And I'm finally done adding to my plate, though, because I think that house thing, that river house is going to that's going to just bury me, I think. But I also have friends, and an older guy, his name's Steve. He's in business, and he said, man, I always got so many irons in the fire, but he's like, you know, that's what keeps me going. And I don't know, it's like, I don't know how to I find strength in that, but then again, it wears me down, man. And like you see dudes out, buddies out hanging, chilling, having fun, hanging out with whoever, and I'm hanging drywall, you know, or I'm doing paperwork for purchasing products, or I'm planning a podcast, or I'm trying to close on this property I want to get. And those are the times, man, where I have to dig really deep to the point where I'm like, okay, I have to draw from this negative experience that I made it through, you know, and that's what I try to do. And man, sometimes it works, but I think a lot of people just think it's all fun and games because it's always easy looking from the outside in. You know, it looks easy from the outside in. So,
yeah, you never think about it when it comes down to it. When you're just sitting there alone, like you said, a lot of loneliness. You know, you're working for yourself. You're trying to get things working, you know, in the right direction. Yeah. You know, sometimes you're spinning. Like I always say, I'm done cutting hair at this. I'm scheduled to be done cutting hair at this time, but the work's not done. It's never done.
No.
It's never done. You know, there's floors to sweep, product to, you know, front from face, you know, wipe stuff down, making sure everything's set up for the next day, the lot shoveled,
in your
salt,
mind,
everything. You're just like, there's so many things you got to do that you just, I mean, you have to just know, like, okay, yeah, I'm doing the right thing. I'm, you know, I'm not alone. But like, yeah, you sit there lonely sometimes thinking about, man, there's so much work to do. People think I got it made because I don't have to, you know, I got my own schedule. I can do this and all that. But I thought that working for myself was going to be just freedom. I answer to so many more people than I ever did. You know, because I care. I care about the reputation of my business. I care about the people that work with me. I don't consider, like, the guys that work with me, we work side by side. Right. It's my barbershop. Obviously, I put in the business, you know, time and work and effort and all that. But like,
they're like your coworkers, man.
These guys work with me. Right. These guys are my brothers.
It's a team.
You know, I care about them, and so I make decisions every day, not just for me, for them and their family.
And that's another thing I liked about it, man. I was following you on social media, and I see you hanging. You guys all hanging together, going to games and events, and just out to eat, and like. I think that's huge for your culture and your brand is like that's how you develop that family like atmosphere, and people feel that when they come into a shop, man. Like, and I think that's important. And I try to do that with people that like help me, but man, we're just so scattered. I need to do something like that. But I did like that aspect of your business is you guys are like a family.
Well, that goes all the way back to the idea of like sending people to other places to get a haircut. You know, whereas like I was so busy I couldn't do it, but I understood that you know there was a feeding frenzy in the area, and I needed to at least help. So bringing Amir down, he goes by Doc, educatordoc.com for for an appointment with him. But he came down and started killing it right away. Boom, we spent a year together working side by side. Next thing you know, Nick Sears out of nowhere.
Good dude.
Great dude. Great dude. All of a sudden, I get a call from him. He's getting ready to finish up barber school. Needs a place to go. I'm like, come check it out. He comes down. Boom. Day he gets there, my 2 new barber chairs get there. He helps me hook them up. Boom. He's he's locked in. So now there's 3 of us.
Yeah, I saw his wife. His wife Susie. She graduated with me, and she said, "I said, what's Nick up to?" I was like, "How's it?" I knew he was in barber school. She's like, "It's good." She's like, "Do you know Jimmy?" I said, "Yeah, I know Jimmy." She goes, "That's what he's gonna go work with him." I was like, "Dude, he's good." I just knew that. Like, I was like, he's good if he's in that shop, because there's really no better place to go learn that's open, and someone who can just be totally authentic and lets you be your own person. And I think that's another thing I see is you let these guys create their own craft and you support that.
Yeah, I mean, like Nick and I think Nick and I, honestly, we came from exact same cloth.
Mm-hmm.
We're cut from the same area. We were just a year or so behind each other everywhere we ended up going.
Yeah.
But ultimately, we end up at the shop together. And then younger cat Christian, he's going to the same barber school I went to. Then he goes to the same school with Nick, and he's finishing about the same time. And I'm like, in my head, I know, like, we're going to need another guy, but I don't have a new build. I don't have another place.
Mm-hmm.
I got a small building, and a big thing for me is I feel like God has a plan for me. And going back to when Doc started, now the other shop that I started working at, it actually burnt down. Doc started, a month later, burned down.
Damn.
Now he didn't have no insurance, nothing like that.
Mm-hmm.
He's about 70 years old, he's kind of like towards the end of his career.
Mm-hmm.
Boom. Now, it's sad for him or whatever.
Yeah.
For me, I bring Doc in, boom. All of that business, we kind of absorbed that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because they needed a home to go to.
Yeah, you cornered it, yeah.
So,
right.
Boom, we got that. Nick comes, south side, or actually east side, First Street. Barber had been there 30 years. His son is actually the chief of police in our town.
Right on.
But he falls and hurts himself. Has to have shoulder surgery. And then finds out he has early stage dementia. So, boom, forced out of barbering, which is sad. And we love Steve. Steve comes in whenever, and he's welcome there whenever. But I end up absorbing that business.
Yeah.
Nick kind of just absorbs all those older folks. And, he connects with the veterans because he's a veteran, Air Force veteran. He connects with those guys. And next thing you know, that shop's available to me at auction. Boom.
Nice.
We swoop in, we purchase it. Now we got 2 shops. So we got 4 guys going both shops, and then insert the guy I was telling you about, Connor. He takes over the Bryant Street shop. So we got 2 at Bryant Street, 3 of us at First Street, and now we've just absorbed the barber business in Huntington.
That's awesome.
From all directions.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you know what, and it's all organic. I didn't go out and search out for this.
That's a God thing, man.
Yeah. It's a God thing, and that's what I'm telling you.
That's like good living, like good living, man. If you're living good and you're living clean, you're trying to do the best you can for yourself, your family, and other people, God takes care of the rest, dude. I'm a firm believer of that. No matter where you're at a certain aspect or stage in your life, like if you keep pushing and you just keep trying to do the next right thing, God will handle the results. And then all you got to do is just not take credit for it. You know what I mean? For me, it's just like, hey, man, I don't know. Like, I don't have any idea why this stuff is happening the way it's happening right now.
What's the saying? Was it? I'm at lost for words. Like where luck meets preparation. Not, what's the saying? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
But I can't think of it.
Opportunity. What the hell?
Man, I'm about to Google this.
So, obviously, I was prepared. I had been in the industry. I'd been working my tail off, had people. I was prepared for an opportunity when it came my way. Luck is where preparation meets opportunity.
Yep, there you go.
There we go.
Boom.
Boom.
Heard it here first.
So, moving into that First Street shop, there's 2 rental properties there too. So I'm like, it's just like an autopilot situation. And for me, I would have never thought that I would be able to own my own business and be a landlord.
Right.
Like, I'm like, all of a sudden I'm thrust into this position where I'm like, I don't know how to be a freaking landlord. I don't know how to, I don't know how to fix stuff.
Yeah.
But all of a sudden, I'm YouTubing.
Yeah, dude.
The water heater
YouTube's it, man.
Right.
YouTube is
all
it.
of a sudden now I'm a landlord. You know, it's like I'm put into situations where I never thought I would be. And, just through that little shred of confidence, going back to the complex thing, it's like, you're capable of doing whatever you put your mind to.
Yep.
And God has a plan for you.
Yeah, and I think this too is, okay, so I was always getting in trouble in school. I was always talking, clowning, fighting, whatever. Yeah, but my mind, man, was bored. Like, I was all over the place, right? Like, they talk about the ADD, ADHD. Like, I'm a firm believer that I literally have that. So in business, though, it's been the only outlet that I've been able to let that stuff go, and it works because it helps your creativity. You think outside the box. You're always changing stuff. And it drives people nuts that don't get it. But when the end result comes around, it's like, dude, I don't know how that worked out, but it's like, neither do I, but it's because I was creating. Like, I don't know how I do that, which is obviously another gift that I was given. And I can't take credit for that either. But I think, like, with you, I see it with your products, with your swag, with your other stuff that you offer, and your haircuts, and just how you promote your business. Like, I think that me and you relate on that as far as where our minds just are all kind of all over the place, but it works for you in business.
Yeah. You constantly, you're constantly thinking of the next thing.
Yeah,
I have that fear all the time. Like, man, what am I missing out on? What
I got to stay ahead of the game.
What am I not, like, what's the next step? I'm always in next step mode. It's like, sometimes you're like, man, I'm not, I don't have it. I don't know exactly what next step is, but I'm going to grind today, and I know what's on the plate for today.
Yep.
And the blessing with online scheduling, people get on my, my schedule.
Yep.
They book my time, and all I do is just check it. I'm like, okay, says I got to be at the shop tomorrow at 9. Like, that holds me accountable. That's structure.
Yeah.
I need structure.
Me
to
too.
succeed.
Yep.
Because if not, I'm slacker.
Yeah. Idle hands are bad for me. Like, if I got too much time on my hands, like, and I think
trying to have fun. It goes back to that.
I'm just trying to have fun, man. But, well, all right, man. I think we're getting close to time, but. Jimmy, man, I appreciate you coming on and being open and talking about things that not a lot of people would have the balls to talk about, and that's kind of what this podcast is about, man. And I know for a fact that you inspired me tonight, and I know that you inspired some other people, and definitely, hopefully, some young people who are right now maybe in the transitional stages or development stages that you were in, and it just goes to show you, like, once again, that no matter where you're at in life, it gives you zero excuse to not be successful. And that's pretty much the whole gist of it, is there's really no excuse. And if you need anything from me, and I'm sure Jimmy at Jimmy's Barbershop and Shave Parlor over in Huntington, him and his dudes are going to be over there. If any young entrepreneurs have any questions,
absolutely,
I'm sure they're welcome.
Questions, if you just want to talk to somebody, if you just need haircut obviously is one thing, but I'm not trying to monetize the situation at all. If you need just someone to talk to, I would love to be there for any kid, anybody, adult. It doesn't matter. I mean, we're all imperfect, so, like, we can sit and be imperfect together and talk about it.
Hell yeah, man.
Yeah.
And I appreciate you coming here and being imperfect with me and Wade tonight.
That's right.
Wade, once again, thank you very much. So, yeah, everybody have a good weekend. Stay safe. Love you. Peace.
Step right up, who's next in line? I got them hot dogs cooking, it's about that time. I got everything you need, if you're hungry, come and eat. From Detroit to Chicago, you can find me in the streets. I'll be hooking up the meats, I'm just trying to do my small part. My name's Nick, come and get it at the dog cart. You can find me anywhere online, my website's nicksdogcart.com. You can call me on the phone, you don't ever have to wait. 260-330-3498. So if you're hungry, come and get you a plate. I'll hook you up and the food's great. Go ahead and check the menu. Our dogs come in all different styles, and we'll go the extra mile to give you service with a smile. Great food, low prices, you know how we do it. So come and see me and be a part of the movement.